Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Nine podcast. As always, thank you so much for joining us. I am Mike Noble, joined by Caleb Noble across the screen there. Today is July 2nd, and the Cardinals officially sold. And I think it is safe to say that Mo is a better seller than he is a buyer.
Well, considering he actually did something, he can't be worse. Um, I think he did a really good job. I'm looking at the names here. I was writing them down. Um, and I understand that they're mixing and matching prospect rankings with all these new guys. I think they have 4 new top 10 prospects according to MLB Pipeline. That's bullshit. Okay, that's not. Those rankings are stupid because what they've done is they're now updating those people where they should be placed because of what they've done this season, but they're not updating the other people in the organization and what they've done this season and moving them up. So it's like if Michael McGreevy's 7, then I take into account that he's been pretty good at AAA this year. So that's what I'm saying. But I think he did a really good job. He got 10 players for 5 guys, 4 rentals, and 1 Genesis Cabrera.
Yeah.
So he did a really good job of restocking the farm system at the very least and completely basically rebuilding their top 25 prospects.
My apologies. I think I said July 2nd. It is August 2nd. As hard as that is to believe, it is August 2nd. Yeah, we kind of thought 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 7 months ago, we would be having this episode right now in a much different way than what we're doing right now. However,
they acquired Juan Soto.
Here we are. And, it's a different time to be a Cardinal fan. This is really the first time in Mo's tenure that they have been massive sellers at a trade deadline. And for me, it might be the first time since like the early 90s that I can really remember the Cardinals doing this. So it's been a long, long time. Here's what I think. Like I've seen so many people on X. It's not Twitter anymore.
I hate it. It makes me so mad. It says post now instead of tweets.
Instead of a tweet, it's a zeet, right? That's what we need to call it.
I will never say that in my life.
Anyway, I've seen so many people it's just so obvious that so many people don't quite understand. So that's why we kind of do this, is try to help people understand. Not that our listeners and viewers don't. You do. You all are amazing. Thank you for everything you have done for us. Hit that subscribe button while you're watching.
I just think it's more that Cardinal fans have never seen it.
It's just so weird for people who thought that we were going to land a 1 through 3 starting pitcher for the rentals. That's not how the trade deadline works. What Mo did, in my opinion, and I'm really excited. We got Kareem coming on tomorrow, minor league expert. Like we've been wanting to get him on here for a while. So after the draft, it ended up being perfect. Let's get him on. But what they did was they retooled their farm system and just added to a system, which what it does is allows them to make a trade if they need to in the offseason. It just adds to organizational depth. And here's the thing. If you looked at the trade deadline, no starters, 1 through 3 starters, were traded to a team who isn't going for it all. Like that wasn't done. There were no Logan Gilbert deals. The Mariners didn't deal their pitching. The Marlins didn't deal their surplus of pitching to add whatever. The Yankees, there was a lot of talk. It seemed like they even said this morning on MLB Central that the Cardinals really are the Yankees really wanted Dylan Carlson. You all right there? The Cardinals, I think, wanted Clark Schmidt or another young controllable pitcher to go into their rotation either this year or next year. The Yankees couldn't do it. So I think you just saw that this year. It was honestly kind of a weird trade. And a lot of people went home, which, by the way, that's a lot of Cardinal moves in the past, bringing guys back. A lot of teams did that. But I think what Mo did was to restock a farm system that also was still top 10 in Major League Baseball, with a lot of younger guys, a lot of high potential guys that none of us have ever heard of. and allow yourself to give you flexibility come this offseason and heading into spring training next year.
Yeah, the moves that we all want them to make, oh my gosh, they traded for Logan Gilbert or whatever you want. Those are off-season moves. Yeah. Those don't happen in the season.
But you know as well as I do that the people on X thought that that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, and part of that is because the media stirs that around. Correct. And because Logan Gilbert and Cardinals, that's not all on the fans. That's just, if you believe in these reporters, which you should be able to, they'll lead you to believe that's possible. and it wasn't going to happen. The Mariners had a weird trade deadline anyway. I don't know what the hell they were doing, but
That's Jerry DiPoto, man. That's what he does.
yeah, it was stupid, is what I think. But that's fine.
Let's go through them just briefly, because again, tomorrow I am excited to have Kareem on, because he is in the war room watching like tape on these guys, and he is well tuned into the minor leagues, which you and I do watch a lot of minor league baseball here. That does not mean anything. All right. So we talked about obviously Sammy Hernandez, the first deal we got, the young 19-year-old catcher, fine. But then we go back to the Blue Jays, which, by the way, not the last time we're going to go back to the Blue Jays, and we trade them Jordan Hicks. Hey, thank you, Jordan Hicks, for everything you did here in St. Louis. I think that's fair enough for us to say to all of these guys. Electric arm. By the way, Caleb, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a St. Louis Cardinal next year. I'm just going to throw that out there. That would not surprise me. I'm not saying that'll happen. I'm simply saying that I wouldn't be surprised. And you get a right-handed pitcher, Sam Robert. Is it Reverse or Reverse?
I think it's Sim Roberts.
Oh, geez, I wasn't even close.
Yeah, here's the thing. That's not how it's spelled phonetically when you look on this website, but that's what Mosaic said. So I'm going with
okay.
it.
And then Adam Kloffenstein. And give me your thoughts on those guys.
I don't have many. It looks like Adam Kloffenstein's a guy that kind of took off this year for whatever reason. I don't know. There might be a mechanical change in there. That's the reason. I have no idea. But he's going to AAA. Sam Roberts is going to AAA. Both of them,
From
I think,
the Netherlands, by the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Both of them, I think, need a lot more development probably before they're ready to be in the majors. But it's the two more guys that are now AAA pitchers, because they both got called up to Memphis, that are one phone call away next year from getting a start for you. That's
Absolutely.
where I'm at with it.
And they're young guys.
Maybe one of them's really good, and maybe Sim Roberts takes off. Who knows?
Is that how you pronounced it?
It said Robersa on the phonetic spelling.
Okay, good. I want to get it right.
But that's not what Mosaic said.
Either way, number 7 prospect in the Blue Jays farm system. Here's the other thing I want to talk about, and we'll get to this a little bit more in the Flaherty trade. Don't just look at numbers as if they're the same. Like the Cardinals 7 and 8 are not equal to the Yankees 7 and 8, or they're not equal to the Orioles 7 and 8.
Also, on top of that point, look at the Cardinals' top 10 prospects going into 2022, and look at where Brendan Donovan was. He wasn't on it.
Was that really? That's interesting.
There's a good chance he's going to end up being the best of anyone.
Yeah, that's really, really well. Shot at Jordan Walker, shot at Mason Wynn. What are we doing here?
Brendan Donovan's had more major league success than both of those people.
So far.
We'll talk about him again later.
Either way. So you get the Hicks trade, which, by the way, not bad at all. The Rangers, who, by the way, were incredibly busy this offseason. Montgomery, which we had talked about on the program before. We kind of thought, hey, the Rangers, Montgomery, that just seems to fit. Stratton, they were up in their bullpen. That seemed to make sense. You get the shortstop, Sagise. Again, I need to learn how to pronounce it.
Sagase,
I wasn't even close. Sagase. And then you get Roby and John King, I assume. I mean, they got him. That's a guy you can put right into the bullpen here.
They needed innings.
Yeah. So the other two guys, again, young, with high upside that were drafted early. Like these are guys
really good
to help your farm system.
I think that was a really good deal. That Roby guy, apparently, a lot of people thought he was going to end up being the number 1 pitching prospect in the Rangers system coming into this year. And he got hurt again. So that hasn't happened. But he slots in on MLB Pipeline. So take it with a grain of salt. It's a objective list. But they put him at number 4 on our prospect ranking. And then
third round
JC, yeah, in 2020.
Yeah, and they said he's got all 4 pitches.
Yeah, and then this JC kid, apparently, is like a stud middle infielder. I don't know how. It seems like they got 2 guys that were stuck in a loaded farm system.
It does. Yeah,
it's a JC. Like, he could be really good, but if you're the Rangers, you got Josh Jung, you've got Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, and Ezekiel Duran. What do you need him for? So they just kind of they took advantage of someone's surplus, which is something the Cardinals need to let someone else do that to them in the offseason.
Agreed.
But I thought that was a really good move.
Yeah, I think so too.
That Roby guy is intriguing.
Also, by the way, Monty, shout out to him as well. Like, came over in that Bader trade, did an incredible. I mean, he was incredible as a Cardinal. Like, his Cardinal tenure will not, ever be justified because he was really only here for a year, but
He could come
did a
back
great
too.
job. Chris Stratton also did not hurt us at all. So, Stratton had been really good this year,
He was really good this year.
Then we go back to Toronto. Hey, instead of making one deal where you can have all three and we can get all three, we're going to go ahead now and trade you Paulie D. Probably, in your lifetime, have you seen a bigger lightning rod of a Cardinal outside of the guy we're going to talk about last than Paul DeJong?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not even close, no.
With the
Kobe
injury
Rasmus, people didn't like him.
With the injury to Bichette, that's a good move that's a Toronto move. That's a good move for them. And he will, by the way, look good in the baby blues because he looked good in the baby blues here.
Yeah, that's true. I'm coming back to what you said, and then I'm going to get to this trade for a second. Paul DeJong is probably the nicest person to ever have any kind of this much hate from a fan base. But anyway, they got something Schwanner. What's his first name?
Swanson, Matt.
Swanson.
No
okay,
W.
So they made,
not Swanson, but Swanson. We really went with guys' names no one can pronounce. Hey,
yeah. So
could you imagine R.I.P. if Tim McCarver was trying to do these games with these names, or Mike Shannon again? R.I.P.
No. Also, I think they kind of just made up a player and gave him to the Cardinals for Paul DeJong. That's not a person. He's a 24-year-old, just was a high A reliever, and he's been so good that I'm wondering why the hell he was still in high A.
Yeah, that's weird.
He got called up to Double A on Monday, so 2 days ago. Then gets traded. Probably. So I don't. They got rid of Paul DeJong. That was the goal.
Yeah,
they made room for Tommy Edman, Mason Wynn to play shortstop.
And they could be on the hook for $1 million next year or something like that. They
who cares?
Yeah, right.
Not my money.
Again, another arm that you can throw into the minor league system. That's never a bad thing. Yeah. And if he develops, you just never know how guys are going to develop. You just don't, especially with a change of scenery.
Especially with a reliever, they could be good for a year and you not even know where they were coming from.
At almost 5:00 yesterday, you and I have been massive Jack Flaherty. By the way, good luck, Paulie. I hope he goes up to Toronto, gets in the playoffs, has a big Paulie D moment.
Maybe
he will. He will.
Yeah.
Honestly, and what do you think? Go ahead.
He'll hit a late homer, and then Cabrera and Hicks will close the game down.
They're talking that there's a potential of him maybe moving to second base when Bichette comes back to get his defense into the lineup. Now, I don't know.
With Merrifield.
They might move him to the outfield. They said they've got some uncertainty out there. I don't know. I'm just letting you know that's what they were talking about.
Springer, and Kiermaier is uncertain.
You could always DH one.
Those are 3 of the best defensive outfielders in baseball.
I understand. I'm just telling you what I heard on the Blue Jays broadcast. So I don't know what
I don't know. We'll see.
Then very late, our guy, Jack Flaherty, the lightning rod of the Cardinals, when we can talk about why if we want, but we're not gonna, ends up going to the Orioles. I am so pumped for that. Everybody knows on here we're Orioles fans, or especially me. I've really become an Orioles guy. Birdland, all of that is fun. I'm excited for him to go out there. But this seems like maybe this was Mo's piece of de resistance. Is that this right? That's the word. This was his coup d'etat. Boom, on the trade.
Just use a normal word. Best trade. Is that what you wanted to say? It's his best trade?
It seems like it was his best one.
It could be. Well, this is one of those things we'll see. What if one of these guys and the other two becomes a superstar? Then obviously that would be their best one. But I really it's a good deal. Another infielder, Cesar Prieto, who's now in the Cardinals top 10. We'll see if that sticks after next year. But he seems like kind of a contact guy. His batting averages are insane, and his OPS is pretty good this year. But I'm not gonna lie and say I know a ton about him. That's why Kareem's coming on tomorrow.
Yep.
Drew Rom apparently gives up a shit ton of runs and strikes people out, but only throws 91. So I don't really understand him at all.
How does he strike so many people out? So
yeah, but he since 91 has he struck so many people out, and then how does he give up so many runs if he's throwing 91?
We don't know yet.
And then there's Zach Showalter kid, who everyone seems to really love.
Yeah,
he's ranked 23rd, so it's not going to pop. Your eyes aren't going to pop at it, but he's 19 years old. He throws 96. He's kind of the kind of guy that they need to be able to develop because he's got a live arm. But they got a kind of a wild card prospect, which would be him because he's not what's the word, established yet. And then they got the other two who are AAA guys and both pretty good prospects. And then when you look at Baltimore's system, they're both top 20. Well, I think Prito was like 14 or 12 or something. And then
16
Rom was
maybe, and
18.
18, like 16, 18, or 14 and
Yeah.
18.
First off, those are preseason rankings. Those aren't
Right.
updated. And also, Baltimore has like the best farm system in baseball. So being 18th in that system or 16th got Prito all the way up to 9 in ours. So that's the difference in the systems. But I couldn't believe that they got another guy thrown in. I thought Prito and Rom was a good package, and then they got that kid thrown in. And then as I saw more about him, it seems like everyone really likes him. I think he did pretty well. He did
Yeah,
it as
Showalter,
well as he could do.
19, drafted, I think, in the 11th or 12th round out of high school because everybody thought he was going, I think, to South Florida. I think he was going to USF. I think that's what I read. But got 5th round slot money, and people thought he was legitimately a 3rd round draft. Like, everybody was nervous. We kind of saw this year with Cameron Johnson. Nobody picked him because everybody thought he was going to college because of the money he wanted. Ended up in the 11th round getting 5th round slot money. That tells you something about his talent. So that could be, and I saw somebody, it might have been Kyle Reese, post about how they really needed to go out and get an A pitcher, like a guy at that age that they could put at the single A level. And that's what they did right there. I mean, I assume was he sent right to Peoria?
I don't know if that's official yet, but that's where I don't know if he'll go to Peoria or not. He might go to Palm Beach first.
So there you go. I mean, you got rid of every expiring contract that you needed to get rid of. You got a restocked farm system, and it allows you a lot more flexibility in the offseason. I don't know what fans could ask for more than that. Obviously, we don't know these guys. We don't know what they're going to become. We hope they all become stars at the major league level. They're not, but we hope that they are. We wish everyone who played for the Cardinals that was traded goes off and has a signature moment in the next 2 months. That's what I'm hoping. I would love, or next 3 months. I would love to see that.
And also, yeah, I would too. Those guys, I love all those guys. It was kind of sad. It was sad that to see Flaherty especially, and even DeJong, because those are guys that have been around for so long. And I wish them luck. There's always a chance they come back. I don't know if they will, but there's always not DeJong. There's always a chance Flaherty will come back, but we'll see what happens. And I was looking, that guy is at Peoria, by the way. And
that's what I assume.
The thing that the Cardinals needed is they needed to find a bridge from where they are right now to Tinkins. Tinkins has a lot of pressure on him if they don't bring any of these guys in here, because they're going to fast track him. I bet will be in the major leagues next year at some point. It was in the bullpen or in the rotation, but they needed to have guys like Rom, like Kloffenstein and Roberts and all these names that I can barely pronounce. They needed guys like this that could kind of bridge that gap to go along with McGreevy, to go along with Graceffo. Derpy, he's hurt and no one really knows what's going on there. But to add all those guys that we got into a room with Graceffo and McGreevy, you've now got a full AAA rotation. Any of those guys, all those guys, top 20-ish prospects that could make a debut at any time, that's a weapon. So
agreed.
They needed to do that. I'm glad they did. And if one of those guys takes a massive leap forward, you're looking at your 5-star next year.
Let's talk a little bit, just really quickly, because we're not going to be here too long. Let's talk a little bit about Tommy Edman back, Paul DeJong gone. I assume Tommy's going to be playing shortstop every day now, because until they make a decision on Mason Wynn, which I think is probably September.
They're going to wait.
Yeah, I think they'll wait. I don't think
they probably should, to be honest.
I don't think there's any need to rush him. What it allows you to do is it allows you to play Nolan Gorman almost every day at second base, which he needs to do, by the way.
Every day.
Unfortunately, Brendan Donovan's season-ending surgery. Yeah. But hey, here's the thing. The season's lost. Let's go ahead and get him ready. Surgery, never like to hear that as a player or as a fan.
No,
let's go ahead and get him ready for 2024. That's all that matters now.
I did think a funny thing was he tried to tell them no, because he didn't want to stop playing. They're like, dude, look at what we're doing here. Let's get the surgery. He's like, no, I want to help us win. So that's why one of the many reasons why they love Brendan Donovan and why he'll never get traded. If you think he will, he won't.
Then you've got the 4 outfilders and Burleson.
That's where the problem comes in.
Dude,
no, yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. And the problem is they needed to trade one of these guys, but you don't trade them for nothing because that's pointless.
We can DH one every night. You can DH one of those guys every night.
Walker has to be in the outfield every night.
Yeah, I agree. So does Newt.
Newt does need to develop so he can DH. That's fine. Every once in a while. I don't care about
I
that.
understand that. Yeah. I understand.
Walker needs to be in right field every night. And if
Yeah.
Nootbaar is your center fielder of the future, he needs to be in center field every day.
Yeah. They don't know that yet, though. I don't think they
I don't think they do
think
either.
they know. Still, they still don't know. Remember we said in November, you got to make
to be fair,
decisions? We still don't know.
It's not their fair. They don't. It's not their fault. They don't know. None of these players have separated themselves. Well, that's not true. Nootbaar has.
And Walker.
And also, we came on here last time. You called Nootbaar a fine player. He's like one of the best outfielders in baseball now. So
I didn't say fine player. All I said was I don't believe he should be untouchable. That's all I said. That was it. I've never disparaged, nor will I, Lars Nootbaar, because I'm a fan.
You don't want a 130 OPS plus
Didn't
outfielder
say that. I'm not
plus
saying
arm. Same WAR as Goldie, all those things. No, he's not untouchable, but Goldie is.
First of all, I never said Goldie was untouchable. You did, and then you came on, and just like you always did, you flippity floppity.
Yeah, but Lars Nootbaar never flopped on. He's untouchable.
All right. Okay, let's just really quickly. I'd like to get your perspective here around the league. Give me the trades that you really liked teams that made, and then let's do the winners and losers because that's what everyone does, and I feel like that is a good talk. Let's go through the winners first. Who do you think is better as we sit right now, August 2nd, than they were yesterday? And I mean dramatically better. I don't mean we're minuscule better. Like we can make a run.
There's one answer here.
Is it the
Texas
Astros?
or Houston?
Yeah,
Texas. Manchester, Texas. You got a Hall of Fame ace at the top of your rotation. So DeGrom's loss kind of gets pushed to the side. And then you got Jordan Montgomery, who's probably you can slot right behind Eovaldi, or you can slot him right behind Eovaldi and someone else. And then they got Stratton. I do wish they would have got another reliever, but I guess they got to roll to Chapman. We can still count that.
Well, here's what I would say about that. That's because I knew that's where you were going to go. I think one, Eovaldi's elbow, huge. Like the question there, that's massive for them.
Hopefully he's healthy. They need him.
Hopefully. But what it does is they didn't go out and get one. But come the playoffs, you've got Martin Perez, you've got John Gray, you've got Dane Dunning. All three guys have been really, really good in the rotation.
Martin Perez has not been good.
Okay, Gray and Dunning have been.
John Gray's been very good. The other two have been
fine. Dane Dunning. He's on my fantasy team. He's been very, very good. They can move him to the bullpen. Like that's what I'm saying.
John Gray will be in the rotation.
Huh?
I think I'd be more willing to give John Gray the third start than Monty maybe, but
I wouldn't.
John Gray has a chance to win you a game. He can go out there and actually win you the game.
So can Montgomery.
I don't know. He's never done it. But
either way, what I'm saying is you kind of did by adding the extra starters. You did add another reliever. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. And they did I think they did a really good job. Honestly, boring market kind of. Is there anyone else other than Houston and Texas that come to mind?
I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued by the Angels. Only because it
was awful.
Huh? Well, that was all for Shohei, right? I mean, that's all that it was for Otani.
Hey, Shohei, you want to stay? Look, we brought in Randall Grichuk, CJ Cron, and Lucas Giolito.
I mean, and Ronaldo.
What is that? Oh.
And Mike Moustakas. I mean, they brought in a lot of guys.
Mike Moustakas was DFA'd by the Rockies.
I'm just saying. That doesn't mean anything.
Dad, that team has no chance of going anywhere.
They're 3 games out right now. What if they go on? And they're getting Trout back soon.
Oh, sure.
He was out playing catch for the football today.
Yeah, I'm sure it hurt.
I think Astros getting Verlander back was huge. I mean,
it was awesome.
Mets,
pretty cool, by the way. Yeah, we need to talk about them.
What a fucking
Let's go from
disaster.
My losers, the Mets. The Mets are the losers.
Boom.
Also, I think the Padres had a really good trade deadline. I really like Garrett Cooper, G-Man Choi. I think those moves are really good. Rich Hill gives them innings. I think they had a really solid trade. Yeah. They got a reliever too. Scott Barlow. They had a good.
Who was DFA'd by the Rangers.
For a team that's kind of in the middle, similar to the Angels, I think they got better players than the Angels did. But
another team that I think did well were the Marlins. I think getting Jake Berger, who has
that's a really good move.
2028. Now I know they gave up the lefty, who people really liked. Yeah, Eater.
Really good.
I get it. But what you did was you went out and you addressed a need.
But they also don't need him.
Huh?
They don't need Eater. So
that's what I'm saying. I think the Marlins addressed a need, and Berger under team control, who I mean is also St. Louis kid,
CBC.
two torn Achilles, back. Seems like a great dude. I saw him on an interview the
He
other day.
hits.
I'm geeked for them to get him.
He hits the shit out of the ball.
Yes, he
like,
does.
as hard as anyone in baseball. So
yeah,
that's a really good move. I mean, that's a power hitter for you. And he's going to be playing third base for him, I assume. You know, they traded Garrett Cooper, who was an all-star last year. And they just kind of said Gene Segura leave and never come back and sent him to Cleveland. How many times did Cleveland at the trade deadline only get a player that they just didn't drop immediately?
yeah.
Last year is Pablo Sandoval, or was that 2 years ago? Then when they traded Eddie Rosario, they got Pablo Sandoval and then cut him. They don't do anything. I don't understand it. But I think the Marlins had to find one. I wish they would have gotten to bigger bats, like Berger and, gone out and gotten someone bigger, but no one was really moved.
No, there weren't any moved. The Yankees also dropped the ball big time, I think.
Oh, my God.
I think they're dead. I think the
state of New York is in shambles. They're dead. They suck.
Both of them dead, and I'm here for it, by the way.
Their team sucks.
Here's the other one I wanted to get I was shocked that the Reds didn't make a move, and I was shocked that the Cubs are going for it. Like, we sort of lured them into believing they're good, I think.
We did. That was the biggest win of the season.
Yeah, like
we said, hey, they're gonna beat us up and you're gonna not trade Belly and Stroman, and we're gonna be able to trade Flaherty for 3 prospects. Okay.
Right.
You keep those 2.
It's
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Like, are they signing Bellinger next year? Like, Stroman the way Stroman's going now, he might opt in because he has not been good.
Yeah, who knows? But Jeff, you're Jed Hoyer. What you wanted was Stroman and Bellinger, and I know Stroman's been bad lately, but he was an all-star. Your dream scenario was what happened, was those 2 being good again. Stroman was really good. I know he's been rough for about 2 weeks, whatever. He's had a great season overall. Bellinger's been awesome. And you were hoping that was going to happen so you could trade those guys. It happened, and then your team went on a run right before the deadline. So it's funny because that Cubs team sucks. They have no chance.
The Phillies add Lorenzen, which, by the way, I think is a sneaky good move for the Phillies. And the Tigers screwed up Eduardo Rodriguez. Like, that was a terrible.
He did that.
The terrible hand. First of all, how does Eduardo Rodriguez, somebody mentioned it yesterday, whoever his agent is incredible, because how he got a 10-team no trade being Eduardo Rodriguez is hard for me to believe, and opting out and saying no to the Dodgers. Also, I don't remember who said it yesterday, but I agree with it. Oh, I think it was Amsinger. Wouldn't your first call have been to, hey, Eduardo, we're talking to the Dodgers. Will you waive your no trade clause? Not before get the deal completely done and then call him.
Oh, yeah, before the deadline. Maybe do it a few days before the deadline.
Seems like that would have been a good thing to do.
I don't know what they were doing. And Eduardo Rodriguez, I thought it was kind of funny that he did that. Because he could have gone to play with a lot of his former teammates. A lot of his former teammates were on the Dodgers right now, and he didn't want to. So I don't know.
And then they couldn't get a deal done for him because that probably just plummeted his value.
Maybe the taxes, is that why? Maybe he didn't want to get taxed.
I have no idea. I mean,
he would have lost a lot of money.
He has that. Hey, he earned that by putting that into his contract.
He did.
Good. I mean,
I don't mind it.
You don't see it almost ever where a guy says
Dodgers, by the way, we're talking about losers. Dodgers losers in this deadline. They didn't.
Lynn was good last night for him.
Okay.
It was against Oakland.
Well, was that going to win you a playoff game? I don't think so.
No, they're saving up for Ohtani, bro. That's what that is all about.
What if he doesn't go there?
He's not. I don't think he's going to the Dodgers.
Then you planned for 2 years, didn't sign anyone because of a Hail Mary hope?
I think so. I do believe
I think he'll be a Dodger, honestly. I do.
Okay. I think he'll be a Giant, but that's okay.
Maybe. No, I don't think so, though. Who's he gonna? Yeah, I think he probably wants to go play with the star. There's no stars on San Francisco.
I mean, they're still right there. Like, they win every year.
I get it, but maybe the Giants should take that money and get 2 stars, not 1.
They tried to get Correa. They tried to get Judge. They tried. Anyway, interesting deadline. Not like last year's. Not even close. Like, nowhere.
What was your favorite deal? Singular deal of the deadline?
By the Cardinals or
by anyone
for baseball?
Oh, also what would you give? Before we go into that, what grade would you give the Cardinals?
An A-.
That's a little high, don't you think?
Really? I don't think so.
I'm grading on the scale that an A is like going above and beyond and getting an actual starter in your rotation next year.
Yeah, but you weren't going to be able to do like that. Wasn't even an
Yeah,
option.
but that would be an A. Like, so what would be? So if they did that, what would you get them? A
that
new
would be an
letter?
A plus 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 plus. Like
That's not a thing. We're not
I
grading on that
know,
scale.
bingo. That's what
Okay,
I
I'm
just
giving them
said.
I'm giving them a B minus because a C is doing exactly what you need to do and staying average. That's what they did. They traded everyone, but I
They
think
were
their
above
packages were
average.
better than I expected. B
I think
minus.
here's as a former teacher who gave grades, I would say a C would have been you didn't deal all of them. Therefore, automatically a B
No,
plus
that's
gets
not how
you
I'm
got rid
going.
of all the expiring
No,
contracts.
I think I view a C as average. Average is trading all of your rentals
No,
and doing nothing
you're
else.
wrong.
But I liked it.
You're
I
wrong.
think they got better. I think they got better packages, so I gave them a B minus. I do think like if they would have traded a Carlson with a Flaherty and gotten a big prospect, that's an A. But they didn't do that.
That's because I don't think there was an option to do so.
That's not my thing to grade on. That's what I was told they were
So
going to
you
try to
have
do.
to go up. Hold on.
No, Dad, because that's what I'm saying. If they would have done something extravagant and gotten something
You're
great,
what
then
you're
you wouldn't have been you stop. You wouldn't have had any letters to grade it on. So you'd
what
be like,
you're
oh, this is an
asking
A
is,
plus, but it's the same A plus as the other
oh,
one.
if this test would have asked me this question, I would have gotten an A. Well, that wasn't on the test.
It's not the
So
same
therefore
thing.
you didn't get an A.
It's not true. They had options to do stuff. Dylan Carlson's name was floating
Okay,
around with the
B plus.
Yankees.
Either way, I'm going to grade it
Grade
pretty
what
high.
you want. I'm grading the way I went. B minus. It wasn't an extravagant deadline. It's not deserving of an A,
I'll give him a
but
B.
they did a good job.
I can be swayed into a B plus, but I think he did a really good job of doing
They did. I think
exactly
so
what he
too.
needed to do.
I agree. They did exactly what they needed to do. But my curve would be an A would be if they went above and beyond and it's something I didn't expect.
Yeah, I just don't think those options were out there. And
I don't either. But
I am shocked. I am just shocked that the Reds didn't make a trade because just bringing somebody in like a Lorenzen
shocked, really?
farm system, they're in first place. Like, yeah, I am shocked. Like, this is your year. You don't know this is ever going to happen again for the Reds because chances are the Cardinals are going to be back next year. Chances are the Cubs are going to get better. Chances are the Brewers, we know they're always there unless they lose Corbin Burns, which I don't know that that's going to happen next year. So I mean, yeah, I think so. I think that I am shocked by that.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised mainly because who are they going to trade? All the guys that have any value in their system are the ones contributing at the major league level right now to what they're doing.
Yeah, I think here's what I'll say. I think the biggest winner at the trade deadline was the Astros because you got a team that was coming off a World Series championship that just added Justin Verlander, who, by the way, at home
but they didn't
down
really
there.
add Justin Verlander. They just kind of built the same team again.
But you did add him because you were not expecting to
Yeah,
have.
but it's not like the World Series team's adding Verlander. The World Series team's bringing back Verlander.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
What
Like, it's not like the World Series team got another Verlander. No,
and
they just got
Framber
Verlander
throws a
back.
no last night. Now,
Yeah, for my
obviously
fantasy
there's some
team.
other guys you got questions about, but I think that was huge. I agree with Texas. I am excited for that race and for what because one of those teams is going to be a wild card team.
Yeah, and they're like
You know?
a half game back now.
Yep. So I think Texas, the state of Texas, did well yesterday, is what I'll say.
Yes, they did. They did.
And also,
And
the Mets paid for almost all of it.
the Mets. I told you.
Texas, funded by the New York City.
Yeah, funded by Steve Cohen. All right, let's get out of here.
Okay. Thank you as always for joining us. Tomorrow we will be back. And we know we're bringing you too quickly, but we'll be back. Kareem will be with us. We'll be going over more in depth the Cardinals, not only the guys they got, but also some of the Cardinals that we don't pay attention to on a nightly basis outside of Mason Wynn, Moises Gomez, Chris Seffa. What are you eating?
Peanut butter M&Ms. Come on, let's end this. I gotta go.
Anyway, Kareem will be with us. We're excited for that. So I don't know that I can say go Cards anymore. Like I don't know that can be my sign off.
You can.
Okay. All right. Go Cards.